countout. Ken Shamrock would pick up the win here and would have a great match. It would kind of be the jumping point for him as a superstar to go on to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I really enjoyed this match. And then finally, we got Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Owen Hart in a singles match for the Intercontinental Championship. This was a hard one because I believe this is the match where Stone Cold Steve Austin would have his neck broken. Stone Cold Steve Austin would be injured during the match. He would unfortunately have to go out for a severe amount of time, and it really did hurt because Owen Hart was the only Hart family member to injure someone in the ring, and it sucks to see that because the Hart family really did pride themselves on not hurting anyone. So it sucks to see Owen Hart hurt Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold will retain the title, but would have to take time off due to the neck injury. He actually thought he was paralyzed in the ring. It sucked, but at the same time, it was just terrible for Owen Hart. After this, we would have the famous match. Bret Hart's contract would be ending with WWE, and they would want to put the title on Shawn Michaels, but Bret Hart would refuse to drop the title in Montreal. He would not want to drop the title, even though his contract would end the next night on Raw, which would also take place from Montreal. So Bret Hart wanted to leave with the WWE title, and he would refuse to drop it to anyone in Montreal. So what was WWE supposed to do? I guess they came up with an idea. Let's screw Bret Hart. Shawn Michaels at the time would say he did not know about this, even though that's been proven false. He has come forward and admitted he didn't know about it. And you know what? I still think somewhere in the back of my mind, maybe Bret Hart knew. Maybe. I could think that maybe he did, but at the same time, I could also believe he didn't. At the same time, I could truly believe that it was both he did know and he didn't. Shawn Michaels would lock in the sharpshooter on Bret Hart, and Bret Hart would not tap out. This would lead also, by the way, to so many storylines. Bret screwed Bret. The Undertaker not tapping out to CM Punk, even though I'm saying The Undertaker tapped out to CM Punk at Over the Limit, even though he didn't, in a submission match to lose the World Heavyweight Championship. And it was just a lot of bullshit that came from this match. And Bret Hart would actually be in the ring. Apparently, he would also go backstage and beat the shit out of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon would be back there. Undertaker would be holding him and Vince apart. And Bret Hart would then say, Vince McMahon would look at Bret and say, "You get one, make it a good one." And apparently the Undertaker said it was an uppercut. He believes it was an uppercut right to Vince's jaw, and he almost knocked Vince the fuck out. It was a very good punch, and this would be basically the last time we would see Bret Hart in WWE until WrestleMania, the build to WrestleMania 26. And the Hall of Fame, of course, but Bret Hart wouldn't really return to the ring at WWE until the build to WrestleMania 26. A very good, very historical pay-per-view. But, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and I'll always have goosebumps talking about the Montreal Screwjob. I was one year old I wasn't even one yet, because I was born November 22nd, 1996, and this took place November 7th, 1997. I was not even one yet when this happened, and yet watching it back, you could still feel wrestling fans of going, okay, that's what this means. My hair is standing up on my arm. I have goosebumps talking about it. It will always have a long-lasting effect on me of, okay, this is what made WWE and WCW big, because actually, in the end, of the match, Bret Hart would stand in the middle of the ring and actually make a WCW sign with his finger to signify he's done with WWE. He'll never go back, and he is off to WCW. Goodbye, Vince McMahon. And again, it sucks for Bret Hart to have to lose it in that way, but at the same time, what do you expect, dude? You're not going to drop the title when you're leaving the company? I mean, the only reason Ric Flair didn't drop the title in WCW, and by the way, they shouldn't have screwed Bret. They should have tried to work something out. They should have tried to sit down with Bret Hart and say, okay, this is what's going to happen. We need you to drop this title. We know you want to leave, and we'll let you leave, but we cannot have you leave with that title. And they should have done it maybe on a house show or something. That would have been very cool to see if Shawn Michaels went on a house show. And maybe they picked someone else to face Bret Hart in Montreal. Maybe they put Vader or someone in that match. Maybe they put Ken Shamrock, someone else in that match who isn't Shawn Michaels, and then have Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart on a house show later in the week. I don't know. It sucks for Bret that he got screwed, but at the same time, it's still always going to go down as one of the most memorable moments in wrestling history. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to your Survivor Series predictions. So, Survivor Series is going to be a fun one in Brooklyn, by the way. You will have NXT War Games right before Survivor Series. You will have a bunch of fun things going on in Brooklyn. Something I'm really looking forward to. I always love Survivor Series for a couple reasons. I love the brand warfare. I wish that NXT was a part of it still, but I get them not having NXT as a part of it. So, let's go into your predictions with Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the Men's Survivor Series 5-on-5 match with Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory with MVP at ringside, of course, versus Team SmackDown of Drew McIntyre, King Woods, Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss at ringside. They still have yet to announce the final member of Team SmackDown. I think it's going to be Ricochet. That's my guess. If I had to guess anyone, I think it's going to be Ricochet. I see Team Raw going over here. I think Team Raw needs to push from Survivor Series because the ratings are down. People are saying their storylines are crap, but what if they beat SmackDown at Survivor Series? I see Team Raw winning that one. And then we got Team SmackDown, the 5-on-5 Survivor Series Women's Elimination match of Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina versus Team SmackDown of Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and someone to be named later, which I think is either going to be Toni Storm or Sonya Deville. And I see SmackDown going over here. I think that the sole survivor is going to be Sasha Banks. I think it's going to come down to Sasha versus Liv Morgan. And Sasha Banks is going to come over just a tiny bit in the end. And Liv Morgan will get the pop. She will get the deserving handshake from Sasha Banks to push her as a future star. After this, we got champion versus champion in a singles match of Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion, versus Charlotte Flair, the SmackDown Women's Champion. I see Becky Lynch going over, no question, in my mind. The way Charlotte Flair has acted backstage, I think this could end up being a squash match. Charlotte Flair loses for WWE to say, hey, calm the fuck down. We know you are pissed off about your fiance and your father no longer being with the company, but you need to calm the fuck down and remember that this is just WWE, not Charlotte Flair. WWE doesn't stand for Wrestling with Charlotte Flair. It stands for World Wrestling Entertainment. So this isn't just about you. It's about wrestling. So calm the hell down. So I see Becky Lynch going over here. And then we get a champion versus champion match. Big E, WWE champion versus Roman Reigns, Universal champion. You know the Usos are going to be out there. You know Paul Heyman's going to be out there. I don't see any way Big E wins this. I see Roman Reigns in a very highly contested match, don't get me wrong, but I see Universal Champion Roman Reigns winning this one. And then we get the champion versus champion tag team match of RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Matt Riddle. The Raw Tag Team Champions versus the Usos, Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I see the Usos winning this one in a very close match. I think Roman Reigns may come out and screw Randy Orton and Riddle. I think it's going to be a very close match. Very close. But I see the Usos winning this match. And then finally, Damian Priest, United States Champion versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Intercontinental Champion with Rick Boogs. And I see Damian Priest picking up the win here. Shinsuke Nakamura has not been pushed, and they're really trying to build Damian Priest as this sadistic killer type of guy. And I see Damian Priest picking up the win here. So finally, I think it will be a perfect tie at Survivor Series of 3-3. And maybe we'll get another match on the pre-show for a Raw versus SmackDown where Raw will pick up the win. It'll be 4-3 Raw. Raw wins Survivor Series, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I think Raw is going to win this because they need to build Raw as the A show once again. I know SmackDown won last year, and that really hurt Raw in the ratings. So maybe this will help Raw in the ratings and rebuild their dominance in the wrestling community. And that is your Survivor Series predictions, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's going to be a very good Survivor Series coming from Brooklyn. They always pack the house when it comes to Survivor Series. Whenever they do a Brooklyn pay-per-view, it's always a good pay-per-view. Brooklyn is a very good crowd for wrestling. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your drink of the week. One of my favorites, an Irish Car Bomb. A great drink for anyone to have, to enjoy. Maybe an Irish Lass Kicker might enjoy this. It's a very simple drink. You take some Bailey's Irish Cream and some Jameson. You mix that in a shot, and you take half a glass of Guinness. You drop the shot into the drink, and you chug. You chug as hard as you can to finish this drink. It is a delicious tasting drink, and one I will always enjoy. And that's your WWE Drink of the Week. Maybe take it every time there's an elimination in the Survivor Series match. Now a reading from the Book of Rules. A tables match. The match is only won when a superstar puts their opponent through a table, causing it to fully break. No pinfalls, no submissions, no countouts, no disqualifications. A reading from the Book of Rules. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for everybody's favorite segment, the Battle Droid of the Week! This week's Battle Droid of the Week is a very hard one for me to decide. There's two very deserving candidates. I think I know who I'm going with. You know, well, I would love to give it to Cody Rhodes for the way he has decided to push himself in AEW, and I saw this coming from a mile away. He's trying to be his father. He's trying to push himself like his father did when his dad was the booker in NWA, and there's nothing wrong with trying to be your dad. Nothing at all. I mean, his dad is a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it, no question, but Cody Rhodes needs to be his own man. He can't be his dad. But he is not the Battle Droid of the Week. The Battle Droid of the Week is Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair has gained so much backstage heat, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, she is not even talking to any of the four horsewomen in WWE. She has completely separated herself from the whole locker room.